Time to break open the bank, check the wallet, check the bank account. Time for the Money Master. The Director of Financial Newsletters at Newsmax.com, Jeff Yastine, joins us. Jeff, good Monday.
Hello. Hi, Ed.
I'm going to ask you how the market's doing, but I got to start right out. The S&P cracked the 2,000 barrier earlier today, did it not?
It did. It's a step back just a little bit. It's at 1998 just before I stepped in here, but still, that's a first-time ever mark for the S&P. The Dow's up 80 points and nearly back to where it was in mid-July at its all-time highs, and the Nasdaq also setting new 14-year highs once again today. So that run continues as well.
So I know we talked about it last week, but for those who were not here, of course, just give us an idea again of what 2,000 on the S&P really means to, again, the general person on the street.
The main thing is that the animal spirits are flowing on Wall Street. Certainly individual investors are feeling better about the economy. I saw something last week that noted how individual investors have less cash in their investment accounts than they have typically had at other previous points in this particular cycle. So certainly individual investors are buying into these new highs and driving the market further.
Jeff, here we go now with Burger King. My goodness, man, the king may become Canadian. I can't imagine what this is going to do to affect fast food in America. It certainly says something, though, about tax rates in this country, does it not?
It does. You know, we've seen these, a slew of these this year and last year, these tax inversion deals. And that's what Burger King's talking about, buying a fellow chain called Tim Hortons, which is a dominant, coffee and donuts breakfast type chain in Canada, and really has a great moat of competition there. And so Burger King would buy them, and they would essentially become a Canadian company and get a much reduced tax rate. I think it's like 28% for the provincial and national tax rate for corporations in Canada, versus I think it's like 35-40% in this country under the U.S. tax code. So a very interesting deal, certainly.
Do you think maybe now that a company this big and this well known may actually kind of nudge a few people and the right people and say, this is the problem you got here, guys? Or is this just going to be another, hey, come on, big company, hands off? Well,
yeah, part of that, of course, is the political equation, whether there's political will for both sides to come together and do this. And somehow I doubt that's going to happen with the Obama administration being what it is these days. Need for that. How many more companies need to or will announce doing these sorts of deals to be able to make better use of their dollars, which so many of their earned profits are sitting in offshore accounts? And again, we've seen the headlines on this many times before. There are many billions sitting overseas waiting to come back here and can't.
We're all out there, Jeff, right up against the clock. We'll do some more tomorrow. Thanks so much to Jeff Yastine. Now let's take out a couple of moments for this American moment.
I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal before this decade is out of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the earth.
In 1961, newly elected President John Fitzgerald Kennedy announced to the Congress and to all of mankind America's intention to send man to the moon. Previously restricted to the realm of science fiction, the president's commitment set in motion an unprecedented effort to fulfill one of man's oldest dreams. The obstacles were monumental, not the least of which was to create an energy source capable of sending a manned spacecraft to the moon. The answer stood 363 feet tall and delivered 8 million pounds of thrust, making the Saturn V the most powerful rocket ever built. On July 20th, 1969, Apollo 11, carrying astronauts Neil Armstrong, Michael Collins, and Edwin Buzz Aldrin, circled the moon until Armstrong and Aldrin entered the lunar module and readied themselves for their historic landing. With just 20 seconds of fuel left, disaster was narrowly averted when Armstrong had to manually fly the Eagle away from unexpected boulders to a smoother and less dangerous landing zone. Although the imagery was poor, Neil Armstrong's words came through loud and clear.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
However, the flight was not without controversy. Buzz Aldrin, a devout Christian, administered himself communion on the moon. Since NASA was already fighting a lawsuit from atheist Madalyn Murray O'Hair, who objected to the earlier Apollo 8 crew reading from the book of Genesis, Aldrin's communion was kept a secret from the public. Not so secret was the plaque bolted to the descent ladder on the lunar module. It was left on the moon to greet future visitors and reads, "We came in peace for all mankind." For Newsmax TV, I'm Bill Curtis, and this is an American Moment.